The frustrations we hear are as much with multilateralism as they are with our own agility and ability and capacity to meet the challenge head on. So I think we need to revitalize energy into this entire sector, the level of action required, and the outcomes that we see slipping away from us. The goals that are set seem to be moving farther and farther. Now, that is happening internationally. First of all, I see a great amount of discussion to follow. I'm sorry I will not be able to be here for that, but I'd be very keen to see what the outcome is. And honestly, because this is an appraisal of what happened at COP29, it certainly isn't the Paris moment. To me, that was the highest point of climate multilateralism. And since then, other than the peak we reached on securing a loss and damage fund, which has also been routinized by the wheels of multilateralism, we need to see very clearly where we stand. We understand that COP29 made a fair amount of mitigation and other promises. We are still speaking that language. We are still playing within that very box. Why? Because countries like Pakistan need multilateralism as the only real table where you can raise your concerns, which the able secretary just did to some extent. She's quite right about waiting for reports to come out. But let's also see what we do with the reports, right? It's not for you to worry about that alone. I want to be very clear that there are 2-3 things I want to say first about COP. It was billed as the finance COP. COP29 was billed as the finance COP, and they've become very good at raising important and gripping slogans. So it has to go beyond the slogans, and I'm not the only one who didn't see those. We did not see the goals being met. Let's just simply understand this. Even the note that Aisha Aziz sent me spoke to that. And I think we need to be less reluctant to call it what it is, simply in the interests of moving further. And one of them is that the whole business is about NDCs. They matter because those are the commitments that people made at Paris, which was an excellent benchmark, the 1.5. But this COP sealed the nail in the coffin of 1.5 not being alive. Fossil fuels continue with a high trajectory of emissions. They're not even what is known as peaking, leveling out. That was disclosed in all reports. Global warming continues at levels that we all stand and hand-wring about. I remember saying at COP27 that we'll go into 2.5 or 3.0 very soon at mid-century, but I think we're reaching there pretty fast. So global warming going up, fossil fuels going up, 1.5 no longer alive. That is the bumper sticker on COP29. On finance, I'm sorry, there is still confusion, and I really appreciate the French representative saying here that it was 100 billion a year that was committed at Copenhagen, was it? Yeah. It was 100 billion a year. The OECD website still talks about, and many places still talk about 100 billion as a finite target. No, it was to be repeated and cumulatively dispersed. Now, not only was that not raised until much later, around 2022 or something, it was touted as the big poster to come up with, that here we are passing this on. So that didn't happen. The 300 billion, I'm sorry, I called it a Band-Aid on a bullet hole for the global south. Because everybody knows, including the UN system, which is at least not dishonest, And I really, really appreciate them for it. They're giving very large numbers, over $6 trillion a year. $6 trillion a year needed. Now, just look at Pakistan, $30 billion in loss and damage. And I'm not blaming government, but we've lost our leadership. We led that charge. I don't know who the representative Pakistan has placed there and what he or she is doing. Did anyone hear anything about it from Pakistan rep on loss and damage? I don't. I did not ask. I want to stay agnostic. And I will find out that we are now at a place that not only are we losing leadership in places, and I don't again say government, this is an all of society effort. Why are we not asking the right questions? Why are we not spurring change amongst ourselves? Now we veer between blaming government totally, which is Pakistan, and say, oh, this is, and it's very fashionable to do that. Very fashionable to say we are making all the wrong choices, we are not doing enough, and there's a whole, there's an infinite list of things you can do which are not getting done, which won't get done immediately, right? And then we veer between blaming multilateralism, and then now there is, I wish the Honorable Justice was here. I speak with him every year at COP, and I'm really happy that he's become a green justice. I appreciate that. But we need to be very clear that just because one thing isn't working, we can't take things out of a piece of paper and get on. We have to look at the new big thing in actual green activism, and that is called do no harm. You must have all heard about it. Don't consume too much. When you make a policy, think about its impacts, because there's so many impacts we don't think about now. So do no harm is one of the big new actionable trends that we need to take stock on. When you're going to make a climate authority, please understand, suddenly, magically, this is not going to be, Justice Saab, I want to speak to you, this will not, I know you mean very well, but it will not yield you the momentum that you want. The momentum will come and must come from the provinces. Making authority after authority, this is exactly, I would have made one. I was not a sleepy minister.
The leadership role of Pakistan, the way we as a team, not only me or the MOCC, all the 4 provinces, the Balochistan province from the day 1 till the end was there. We have engaged KPK as well. We have engaged Punjab. We have engaged AJK, GB. Everyone was on the board. And the most important thing that I want through this, the people should know from Pakistan, that Alhamdulillah, our pavilion was not decorated. Our pavilion was not very much flory or giving the floral picture to the world or the bling bling picture to the world. Our pavilion was the most simplest pavilion, but Alhamdulillah, the most engaged pavilion. The most engaged pavilion in a way that from 9 till 7 or 8, till the time of the closing, other pavilions were having the happy hours, but Alhamdulillah, at the Pakistan pavilion, our engagements were being done. At every forum, Pakistan not only raised voice for ourselves, in fact, we raised the voice for all the vulnerable countries. We raised not only our voices, in fact, we asked for the climate justice. We asked for all those commitments and the pledges they have done. In fact, I very proudly, or very rightly and very clearly, I wanted to mention over there that to global community, I from the Pakistan, by the confidence which I have my political leadership and the Honorable Prime Minister has given, and all the confidence which I have gained from my people, that I've raised this voice and I asked for the climate justice. We have raised this voice that of course the loss and damage fund is a huge thing which we think, but we all know that the developed countries, they always they put us in a trap. and they drag the situations because they are the ones who are not fulfilling their commitments. So Pakistan has said very rightly so that we need to have the access towards those because the funding is not available in the billion, it's in the trillion. But why the mechanism, why the way forward, why the road is not accessible for the people, for the developing countries? Pakistan not only have done that, I would really want to share with you that the Global Shield was a huge success for the Pakistan. That Pakistan get it back, which was being like, I would really like to share over here with my of course, the people from Pakistan, that Alhamdulillah, we got it, and I hope everyone is sitting over here is from Pakistan. So I would really want to say in Urdu as well, ताकि मेरे वो लोग भी समझ सकें जो इंग्लिश को उस तरह से नहीं समझते सकते और मेरी कौमी ज़बान है, इसलिए मुझे फ़ख्र है इस बात को शेयर करते हुए कि वहाँ पर कॉप एक ऐसा जो ह्यूज जो एक शहर बसा दिया जाता है और वहाँ पर डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज़ जो हैं उनको जिस तरह से एंगेज किया जाता है और ड्रैग किया जाता है टिल डे एंड तक हम लोगों ने अपनी जंग लड़ी, अपने हक के लिए भी लड़ी और दूसरों के हक के लिए भी लड़ी. और वहाँ पर जो V20 कंट्रीज़ थे, CVF जो क्लाइमेट वनरेबल फोरम है, वहाँ पर पाकिस्तान के जो सेक्रेटरी जनरल हैं, ही हैज़ अप्रिशिएटेड पाकिस्तान की एफर्ट्स को, पाकिस्तान के उस काम को जो उन्होंने किया. और हम लोग उस कंसोर्शियम को जो है वो डेवलप करने जा रहे हैं जिसके अंदर हम बात करें कि तमाम तर जो वनरेबल कंट्रीज़ हैं उनको इकट्ठे होकर एक रिस्क पूल को क्रिएट करना है, हमें बात करनी है ताकि हम बार बार यूं करने की बजाय यूं भी कर सकें, एक दूसरे का हाथ थाम के एक दूसरे को संभाल के जो है वो चल सकें. इसके साथ साथ जो प्राइवेट ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं, बिजनेस कम्युनिटी है, यूथ है, उन सब को अपॉर्चुनिटी दी गई पाकिस्तान के पवेलियन पे. पाकिस्तान ने वहाँ पर मैं तो नहीं यहाँ पर कोई क्लैरिफिकेशन किसी को नहीं देना चाहती क्योंकि अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह हमने जो काम किया है वो सबके सामने है.
Unfortunately, the expectations that many countries had from this COP were not met. Although it was climate finance COP and $300 billion were committed by 2035. It's still not known that whether 100 billion will be fulfilled till 2035 or not. So there are a lot of uncertainties that by 2035 we will have 300 billion every year. But what about the next year and the year after that? So the climate finance is still facing a lot of uncertainties, and countries have been told to raise money from the private sector, look for blended financing, although these are very important areas. And in our climate finance strategy also, we have highlighted the importance of engaging private sector.
To do the needful with renewed vigor.
Of 100 billions a year that was